Hey, brothers, you're listening to Home Bar Happy Hour. We're talking about assholes in the airport. We're talking about flash in the pan actors and actresses. And we're talking about clowns. Let's roll, America.
That's it. Yeah, let's roll, America. Michael, Gustin, how are you doing today? You look a little red, a little sunburned, a little
Sunburned,
sun-kissed.
yeah, torpedoed from my vacation. And,
Torpedoed.
yes. Yeah.
So how
didn't
how
drink,
was it,
didn't
man?
drink
You
a
went
lot
down,
of.
You went down
Oh,
to
man.
Cancun, right?
Yeah. It was a very awesome. I've never been in all inclusive, and that
Yeah.
the Moon Palace Grand was fantastic. Didn't have to do anything. They took concierge service, took me, picked me up from the airport, and like all I had to do was just follow the wedding party around like a lost
Nice.
puppy.
Yeah. That's sweet.
Well,
How
like a
many
little-
days were you there?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yep. So 5
Okay.
days.
Good deal.
5 days is too much for me, man.
Yeah,
I was,
too much going hard the whole time.
Yeah, and wasn't drinking water.
You got to drink that
I mean,
water.
I was drinking some water, but not as much, and it was hot as hell down there. And
Yeah.
then of course, then you had to deal with the assholes in the airport on the way back. Actually, on the way down, it was kind of it was a little. My anxiety was through the roof. I was up in the air for an extra hour because we were avoiding the storms in the Midwest.
Ah.
And then I missed my flight, which was leaving as when we were taxiing to the terminal. Then I had to go, so I had to go up there, and then I had to get a new flight, which was the next one. Then I had to go from that terminal. I had to get in Dallas. I had to get on the SkyTram, and I had to go from A terminal to E terminal, and
So you're just racing around this airport.
let me tell you something. I was sprinting.
You're
I
like
was
the
the bowling-
McAllisters in Home Alone 2.
Yes, I was like the bowling ball chasing Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember the last time I ran like an all-out sprint.
Right.
And, there were motherfuckers that almost got checked.
Yeah.
And,
You're carrying all that luggage and everything with you. That's brutal.
I was just carrying my my laptop bag with my
Okay.
with the iPad and stuff. But I shouldn't even have taken that. I should have just got a carry on and just packed a carry on. But
Yeah. Just bring a nice backpack. That's how I always travel.
yeah, I was thinking about the backpack too. But then we were on the tarmac for an hour waiting
Oh,
for
man.
eight to nine planes to leave, as there were like 10 plus coming in. I was just sitting there just like, just get this fucking plane off the ground, man. And then she's like, oh, the stewardess was like right in front of me. She's like, don't worry, sweetie. I'll take care of you. And I was like, all right. So she came, I gave her a 20 and she came back with like six travel bottles of Tito's. I think I drank all of them.
Nice.
That
You're
settled
tearing
me
it
right
up before you even
down.
got there.
Yeah, I was in rare form, but I wanted to keep my wits about me. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And yeah, because I had to make sure because since I didn't make that plane, like I didn't make my flight there, like my concierge pickup was going to be off, so I didn't even get a chance to even call them to update it. And so I had to call them, and then I had to wait there in the waiting area outside the airport. It was probably about like 45 minutes, and I'm like, oh my God, I just want to get in the fucking air conditioning.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And,
It's brutal hot down there, for sure.
Yeah, the only good thing about it was that it had a nice solid breeze. So I don't mind if it's like hot and humid as long as there's a nice breeze going.
Yeah.
And but yeah, as soon as I got there, they took care of me. Went to my room. As soon as they brought my luggage up, I just changed. Well, the first thing I did was I put all my wallet, my passport, and my iPad into the lockbox, locked it. Then I turned the air conditioning down to 65, the lowest possible setting. then I like stripped down and got into a robe, and I just like hung out in a robe on my balcony. And I made how they had like liquor dispensers there, so I was like making myself another cocktail.
Nice.
And I'm just sitting on the balcony waiting for my luggage to show up. I had like a jacuzzi in there, a nice big bathroom. Everything was marble. It was wild. And then
Man, living like kings.
I was eating. Yeah, we were eating and drinking like kings. And then yeah, as soon as my luggage came, then I just like got into my swim trunks and stuff, and went down to the pool. Right, there was a pool that everybody was at right outside the building. I was in building 85. They have like a shit ton of buildings that everybody stays in. They're like 3 stories high, and but yeah, I went over to the pool there, and I didn't eat all day. I wanted to get something to eat in Dallas,
Right.
and so I was like, well, whatever. I just want to drink here and stuff like that. It was like, what are we doing for dinner? Oh, we're going to go to the Italian place. I was like, sweet. So yeah, so they all drank their faces off and stuff like that. So it was like I got there when they were all like they were on the downturn of the drinking climax, and yeah, and then after I went to get some dinner, I got the seafood risotto, which was really good, and then their special, the lamb osso buco.
Ooh.
Yeah, really good. It was like this giant ham shank that I just posted on a few of my social media spots. That's just me as a chef. But then I left there and then just started wandering around, checking the place out. Hit up the hotel lobby bar, which was enormous. Then I went to the karaoke bar and met up with some of the people. Nah, I didn't. I was just checking that out, but yeah. But yeah, man. Other than that, that's basically to sum everything up. It was just from sunup till sundown. Just on the lookout. On the lookout for other single ladies, which was actually shockingly was slim pickings down there. One, because it was so massive, and 2, it's more of a family resort.
Right, you got a lot of couples, not a lot of people are going there by themselves, right? Not a lot of singles. There
were a lot of weddings there, but it was hard to. Yeah, I mean they do have a singles pool there, but nobody wanted to go there, and I came down there for the wedding. I should have been. I didn't want to be selfish, you know what I mean? And I should have popped over there. I should have popped over there to see what was up, but I mean like I was just like, hey, you got to be here, you got to be here, you got to be here. We have everything was it was the wedding, so I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'm here to have a good time and relax and chill, and so Sunday was Sunday was a bit of a hard one for me. I had to sit in my jacuzzi, maybe sweat out the toxins and stuff like that. It was an air conditioned day.
Yeah, just let everything kind of roll out of you. So let me ask, Mike, while you were down there, did you check out any of the dating apps? Did you see what Cancun, Mexico looks like via Tinder or Hinge or Bumble or anything? Yeah?
Yes.
How was it down there?
It wasn't bad. I mean, it was like anywhere. I mean, a lot of traditional Hispanic women. There were some foreign ladies and stuff like that. And some Americans too, but
yeah.
Yeah, I got a match.
Oh, good.
So,
good deal. Anything come to fruition because of that?
Yes.
Oh,
so
nice.
We'll leave it at that.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so you were talking about these dating apps. Did you see that the Netflix special, the Ashley Madison's Netflix special?
I did. What a dating app that is, right? A dating app for married people exclusively to date people that aren't their spouse. Kind of crazy, huh?
Yeah. You already know my stance on cheaters, so yeah. But I mean, like, I had like mixed. I was like, dude, anybody is like, I don't know. It was like, I find it like really creepy in a way. I'm just like, when people like, I'm watching this and like people are like expressing their problems and stuff like that, and like, oh, I wasn't like, listen, you like, I don't know what you thought, or like, you need to understand that when you get into this relationship, this marriage, that it's a, I hold it to a certain, unless you're into it, that like that one couple, they were into an open marriage.
Yeah, they were swinging.
Like S&M shit. Yeah, the swingers. Like the swingers is. I mean, hey, if that's your thing. But I mean, like when you enter into and you're in a commitment and stuff like that. Like that's how I feel. And but again, no judge zone or anything. I'm like, I thought the moral aspects of the users maybe. I felt like there was a lot of creepy guys, man. A lot of creepers.
For sure. Well, so that was one thing that I felt the documentary didn't go into deep enough. There was another documentary I watched on it maybe about a year ago. But it was on the same subject, right? The Ashley Madison hack, and they revealed all these users and stuff. But one of the more like shocking things I felt about the company as a whole, you know, you want to talk about the morality of a company that is built totally off creating affairs. I mean, they're clearly not the most morally adept people in the world, I would say. But the amount of like female bots on the website was astounding, because their user, and they would say all the time online their user base was, you know, 60-40 men to women, but in reality it was more like, you know, 90-10.
It was false. Yeah, it was false advertising, and then they were just taking their money. They were
right.
Just,
so you're
basically they were just raking in the money.
Exactly. So if you were a man and you're on this website, you had to pay to talk to a woman. Women could just get on there and use it for free, which fine. Okay, I understand that. But when you're paying money to talk to a non-human, a real person that's pretending to be a human, that's pretty shady. That's not great. Again, you do have to kind of know what you're going into, right? If you're signing up for one of these accounts, you got to know you're not dealing with the best people in the world. And then
because at the end of the day, like all these companies, like it's all about sex and love, and you know what I mean, like even if you're not in for, everybody's in for the sex. You could say, I don't care what you say, like you could be in there for the love. I just don't believe. I mean, yes, the love there's an aspect to it, but there's also the sex is also the aspect. So there's both. Some people outweigh. You know what I mean? Like you got love down here, you got sex up here, and then the other way, it's the other way around. But yeah, so I just feel that you know, these businesses target everybody, and the ones who are most vulnerable are the ones who are emotionally unstable.
Yeah, I buy
unstable, unstable in a, you know, in a not like you're, you know, gone 3 sheets to the wind. I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like somebody who. Like I need to be with somebody, or like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Like I need to be with somebody.
Yeah, I understand, agree completely. There was one more aspect of the shadiness of Ashley Madison, because this, you know, huge leak happens. All of these names get off. Ashley Madison offered a service, an additional paid service, that when you canceled your subscription, you could pay $20 to have everything absolutely shredded, right? So let's say you were a piece of shit and you were there cheating on your wife or doing whatever, or maybe you were dabbling, trying to think about it, and then you decided, you know what? No, I'm done with this, but I don't want anyone to ever find out. You pay Ashley Madison an extra $20, and they guaranteed that your email address, your pictures, everything was totally deleted. And admittedly, the people that, you know, worked at Ashley Madison that were in the documentary admitted to doing literally nothing different. There was no paid, you know, service that deleted everything. It was just like
there was no such thing. It was like there was no such thing. They were like, well, no, we're not going to get hacked, so whatever.
Yeah. And then the chickens came home to roost. I'm kind of surprised that a lawsuit didn't come out of just that specific feature. You know what I mean? Like that was clearly, you know, I don't think you can sue a company for getting hacked. You know, that's not necessarily their fault. That's, you know, a group of hackers that are out doing hacktivist work or whatever you want to call it. But for them to offer a service, a paid service, and then not fulfill on that promise is a pretty blatant breach of contract. But who knows what, kind of legal gymnastics they had in their fine print and everything. I think
Well,
the
I'd like
moral
to.
of the story is just don't cheat on your spouse. Just don't do that. If you
Well,
don't want to get
I think
caught
there's
cheating
more.
on your spouse, don't cheat on her.
Yeah. I mean, obviously it's still around, but it's under a board of trustees, and
The
like
website is now?
there's not just one boss. It's like you have a whole board that's
Gotcha.
running the show like a corporation, where it's
Yeah.
not just a single boss, the CEO, and then he's, he's just a piece of shit as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, and it's not just more than that. It's just about the that's their avenue of what they're selling as an app. But you got to be careful on these other dating apps as well. They're sending out a lot of you go on social media and like there's advertisements on there for like I don't trust anything. I basically at this point I don't trust anything that's on the internet. I literally don't.
Yeah, that's a good way to view it. I wouldn't be, maybe not don't trust anything, but definitely be suspicious of everything. Do some research, do some due diligence before you buy that sweatshirt or jersey or meet up with that person, especially if you're in a sketchy area or something.
I feel like that's
be careful out there.
and also I feel it's also taken away from like the natural human interaction. Like that's a con to these dating apps. I prefer to be like an in-person type of guy.
Sure.
I hate taking pictures. I hate taking selfies of myself. I have to be like I took a couple selfies of myself when I was down there for vacation.
Yeah, I saw you. Looked good. Looked sun-kissed.
I was out there. I was really gone. I mean I wasn't like, I was just a wild man. Not wild, but it was a good time. Like I had a lot of, I was a social butterfly, or we'll call myself a social eagle.
A social eagle. I like that.
I was soaring with the Eagles this Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, spread those wings, baby.
Yeah, everybody. If you were around me, it was just you were laughing. I was a hoot.
Life of the party.
Yeah, and that only comes out once in a while, and I think it was because one, because it was a wedding, and I love weddings, and then two, because it was, I'm going down to Cancun, I've never been there before, and I'm at this all-inclusive resort, I'm like, I want to have fun.
Yeah.
But, I think that, there was the other thing, too, that's like a little, like, I feel like, I'm like, why don't, I always have, like, some buddies, like, I feel like it's always the guys that are hooking up the girls, with their guy friends.
Okay.
But I never get girlfriends that hook me up with their single girlfriends. Or, you know what I mean? Like it's always us guys hooking the girls up. I'm like, what do you want? Have you ever noticed that? Or
I haven't. That hasn't been much of my experience. Again, I've been in a pretty long-term relationship, so I haven't noticed that as much, but that is an interesting point. Especially that's something you're noticing, that it's typically the girls that are going to be.
No, I'm not just saying it's like recently. I'm saying this has been a span of over 10, 15 plus years.
Okay.
Definitely 20 years. So it's like a span of like everything. You know what I mean? I see my friends and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, how comes I never knew that she was single? Well, I don't know. I don't have enough time to figure stuff out. I was like, aren't we friends? Yeah, we're friends. And I'm like, well, it was a pleasure to meet you, so-and-so. Oh, thank you very much. That was very sweet. And I'm just like, yeah, absolutely.
Well, maybe that could come down to, historically it's the guy that makes the first move, so maybe that's it.
Yeah, I mean, like, I have no problem making I have no problem making I have no, especially right now, like, I have no problem making, I can't even count on both fingers how many first moves I made when I was down in Cancun. It started even right when I got into check-in.
Yeah.
I wasn't even checking in. I'm holding my champagne, and the girl behind me. Oh, hey, what are you here for? Oh, I'm here for a wedding. Oh, that's nice. Pleasure to meet you and stuff. I'm here for a wedding too. I was like, Jesus, it's hot as hell out there. She's like, I know. And stuff, But yeah, just shooting shit. Too bad. I didn't want to be, oh, hey, what building you going to be at and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I'm like,
Right.
hey, put a seed there. If we bump into each other, she's already met me.
Yeah, plant those seeds, water them a bit. I like where your head's
Unfortunately, I wasn't on the hunt. That'd be kind of weird and creepy if I were to specifically go around all these pools looking for this girl.
at. Sure, that would be odd.
That's
if you
that's
just keep
creepy.
randomly showing up. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to
it's
make
the
it
best
seem
when
au natural.
Yes. Oh my God, it's fate. Oh my God.
Right. Yeah, you got to orchestrate that a little better. But that's good, Mike. It sounds like you had a really good time. Did you leave the resort at all, or did you stay pretty much on the
No, I
resort
stayed
the whole
on the
time?
resort. I didn't have enough time to go anywhere.
Yeah. And why would you leave? You got free food, free booze all
Yeah.
the time, pools.
If I do go anywhere, if I do go down there again, I think the only thing I would do is I want to go see the pyramids. I think that would be
Oh.
pretty cool.
Well, those are in Egypt, Mike, so
No, the Mayan pyramids.
I know, I'm kidding. That was a joke.
I know. I was like, have you been drinking already?
I have one beer. It is happy hour. I don't know. I'm not just sipping on Sprites over here.
There's times where I'm getting smashed on here, and you're over there just sipping one beer with your glasses on.
That's true. I like to keep it real.
Keep it real. Keep it live.
So let's move on, Mike, to one of your favorite actors, I believe, Mario Van Peebles. How do you feel
Yes.
about the MVP? Some call him Mario Van Peebles. And you mentioned he's kind of a flash in the pan actor. What do you mean by flash in the pan actor?
Like he was like when you have a flash in a pan is like the one hit music single, or like they
Sure.
were hot and then they were gone. So it's a
Yeah.
flash in a pan. Like when I'm throwing in some brandy or some cognac into the skillet with some braised meat. And then
Right.
that flash of flame come up and then it's gone. It's like eye popping. It's like, whoa, this is awesome. And then all of a sudden it's gone.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. Like he had some pretty low key movies. He had he was in Jaws the Revenge, which
He was in Jaws the
I
Revenge.
think it was a horrible movie.
Yeah, not
But
great.
I remember him in there because he was like, Michael, would you stop talking with like, we're in here for a shock, Michael. And then he's like, hey, what do you know about this hoagie? Would you stop flapping your gums about hoagie, man? That was pretty funny. I always say that. Like, would you stop flapping your gums about hoagie, man? And then he played in Solo. That was like an army special forces type of movie. And then he played in it was like kind of reminded me of like a cross between Universal Soldier and Sniper.
Okay.
And then he also played in, I think the movie was called Most Wanted, and that was with John Voight. Or no, that wasn't him. That was one of the Wayans brothers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was one of the Wayans brothers. My mistake. And then there was another movie he played in. I forget the name of the movie, but he played as a homeless man, and then next thing you know, he gets he gets picked up and he gets taken to this hotel, and here relax. Here's some cigarettes. Here's some alcohol. Or some food. Relax in the bathtub. Then he gets picked up, and then they're like, "Hey, it was like a bunch of white guys." They take him up into the mountains, and then next thing you know, he wakes up in the morning. They're having all a good time. They're all drinking and stuff. Next thing you know, he's being hunted.
Oh,
They're hunting
jeez.
him. I know, and that was a very off the wall movie. But
Well,
there's
you haven't mentioned his biggest movie and the first film that he directed, New Jack City, with Wesley
yeah, see, I
Snipes, Ice-T, and Judd Nelson. You don't remember that flick?
no, I never seen it.
It's a great flick, Mike. You got to see New Jack City. It's a crime film, right? Think of like The Departed or Goodfellas or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, great movie. And he directed it. MVP, 1991.
But yeah, like there's the only thing. That's where I thought like I've always seen him as like, oh, another movie, Heartbreak Ridge, when he played with Clint Eastwood in that Marine movie. And did you see that movie?
I did a long time ago.
Yeah. What do you call himself? What was his name?
Oh, I don't remember.
when Clint Eastwood ripped his earring out of his fucking ear for stealing his money and his bus ticket. You owe me. You're like, you got away. Big old jawhead, leather neck motherfucker.
He was in a few war movies, it looks like. A few war movies and a few westerns. Looks like that was kind of his thing.
Yeah, what did he say? He's like, have no fear. And then he whipped out, he's like, I got my plastic. And when they're in the middle of the battle grenade, he whips out all of his credit cards, just roll right out.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Good actor, Mario Van Peebles.
What about you, man? Do you have any, actors like him or actresses?
So the one I think of, the one that came to my mind, was Alicia Silverstone. You remember her?
Yeah, really.
She was
she's on the comeback right now too.
Is she? So
yes.
she was in like everything in the 90s, right? Clueless, Blast from the Past, Batman and Robin. She was like doing it. She was doing the Lord's work. And then after the turn of the century, after 9/11, she just kind of didn't do much.
I think she went on to being more of a family mother, like taking care of her children and stuff.
Oh, okay. But she's doing some more flicks now. The last movie I saw her in was this movie called The Lodge. Have you heard of that flick?
Yep. Yeah, I like that. That was a good.
It was pretty wild, and she was in it for the first 5 minutes, and then she commits suicide right at the beginning. So that was a little wild. Wasn't expecting that. But yeah, she had this huge, big career, and maybe she just made enough money that she, decided she was done and could kind of hang out and not worry about it anymore.
Yeah, she's definitely in. There was a movie I just watched on Netflix. I think she's like on the Netflix acting team, like as like a support. Yeah, she's like on the. She seems like she's doing like a few Netflix movies. Like she's on like the supporting cast. So she's like jumping in these movies and stuff like that as like a mom, or you know what I mean, like yeah, just more on like the mom. I think she's picking up like these mother roles. Like she's like a married woman or a mother. She's like a supporting actress.
Yeah, she's coming back. I mean, hey, at least she's still working, right? It's a tough industry, tough business out there. Glad to see.
Who's coming back? Nicolas Cage.
Man, Nick Cage has been on the comeback, and he is.
Did you see that movie with him and what's his name? Damn it, he plays in a bunch of movies now. He's Pasco.
Pedro Pascal.
Yes, Pedro Pascal. Thank you. That it was like him in that movie, and like that was because he played himself, and like Pedro Pascal like is supposed to be this like the Pablo Escobar of these Southern Islands, and like the CIA wants Nicolas Cage to go down there and be like their informant to him because he wants Nicolas Cage to come down and party with him.
Oh,
that was a pretty funny movie.
The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. Is that the name of the movie? Terrible name for a movie. A movie should not be that many syllables. You need like 3 or 4.
I think they did that on purpose, though.
I think they did. It still doesn't make it a better name. Nick Cage's best movie, though, Mike, without a doubt. Him.
The Rock.
No. Him, Johnny Travolta, Face Off.
Oh, Face Off, yep.
Yes.
That was a yes.
Great movie. John Travolta trying to play Nick Cage. Nick Cage trying to play John Travolta. Perfect film.
Yeah. That was pretty. That was wild that like they played each other, and they were able to get. You know what I mean? Like that was pretty. It was pretty wild. That was a really good movie too.
Yeah, I like that one.
I would think like his Con Air.
Con Air and The Rock are two very other.
Well,
very
Con Air,
films.
I felt like Con Air was more of like he was the lead actor.
Oh yeah, for sure.
in The Rock, he kind of like shared between him, Sean Connery, and Ed Harris.
Sean Connery, yeah, yeah, he was that. He definitely was the pilot, no pun intended, of Con Air. Drove that,
and then like his early movies. Was that Driving Miss Daisy?
He was in Driving Miss Daisy,
or maybe it wasn't. It was I don't know. I never watched any of his early movies in the 80s.
I'm trying to. I think like the oldest movie I've seen him in is Leaving Las Vegas, which is an incredible film, and that was probably 92, 93.
Well, what's the movie where he's like he's got to babysit this elderly woman?
He's got to babysit an elderly woman.
Yeah, like then he was in The Family Man and The Wicker Man and Snake Eyes, 8mm. 8mm is a fucked up movie.
That is a wild flick. Wild flick.
Sickos.
Sicko. Oh, he was in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Interesting. Raising Arizona is the one I was thinking of. Hilarious movie. Great flick. Yeah. But the man's got range. Old Nicky Cage. I love what he's doing.
I liked I liked how he tried to reprise the Dracula role, but I thought that was a horrible movie. I mean, I
really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun and a blast. Yeah, I thought it was wacky and out there and goofy. And Nick Cage was being 100%. He was Nick Cage turned up to 11. He was great in that role. I mean, this movie, that Renfield, right? Doesn't need to win any awards, but that's just a fun Saturday night, hanging out, having a beer or two, watching just goofy, ridiculous violence. Like, it was a fun flick. I liked it a lot.
I guess it was a fun flick, but I hated that they tried to use it like Universal is trying to start their dark universe again, and they're trying to figure out which. And we discussed this with the last movie, Annabelle, and how that's probably that might start off because it actually did pretty. It actually did pretty good. Mm-hmm. But I still feel that they left a lot of meat on the bone with the last voyage of the Demeter. There was a lot of meat left on that bone.
Yeah.
And there was a good direction there. They should have filled it up more in the beginning and ended a little bit stronger. And then cut out a lot of some of the nonsense in the middle. I feel like it was just stretched out. The movie is what it is. It's like the last voyage of the Demeter, and that's from the docks to the end.
Right.
And I feel like they should have they could have cut away of some of the how they like the fluff.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the fluff on the inside of the movie, and then they could have backed it up with a little bit more of maybe like an origin. If they were going to start all over again. And I think that could have, been a little bit better. I think they rated it like 46% Rotten Tomatoes. I think that was kind of low. Yeah, I thought that was kind of low because it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a great movie. I think it could have.
Yeah.
I think it could have been like 65 or 70%. But maybe that's just me being a Dracula fan.
Yeah, you got Dracula tinted glasses.
Well, a Universal monster fan.
Yeah.
And you know what? Enough. I have this feeling in my bones that I'm going to be so disappointed with Beetlejuice 2.
You think so?
I'm excited to go see it, but I feel like I'm going to get disappointed.
Probably. I wouldn't be surprised if you were disappointed. It's so hard to capture that lightning in a bottle. They're making like a Happy Gilmore 2.
Yeah.
They're like redoing. This was like probably a decade ago now, but they did like a Dumb and Dumber 2. With Jim Carrey and Jeff Daniels again, it just wasn't very good. You can't go home, And Beetlejuice by itself is just such a perfectly done movie, and everyone is like the right age for it. Michael Keaton is like coming back to play Beetlejuice, but he's like 30 years older now. I mean, he is an old man. He's like in his 70s. That is just not going to be a great look, I think, for like the new Beetlejuice. I don't think he's going to be able to be as, physically comedic as he was in the first one. Winona Ryder isn't a kid anymore. Yeah, it's just going to be. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be as good.
If Winona if she's in the movie like how she plays her character in Stranger Things, and yeah, Michael Keaton comes out with a little bit of a lot of energy. I feel like he doesn't have to be. It's not a physically demanding role. It's just you have to be.
A lot of physical comedy in that movie. A lot of falling down, a lot of jumping around. I don't know.
But
we'll have to see. We'll see when it comes out how it does. And, we'll keep our finger on the pulse of Beetlejuice, too. Hey, you know what? Speaking of Beetlejuice and that clown, how do you feel, Mike, about clowns?
Yeah, well, we're all... I know I'm just going to say this. We're all clowns.
We're all clowns.
Somebody recently, I don't want to get into his name, but I guess I'm a clown. So, but you know what? Like in Batman, everything burns.
True that.
I hate clowns. I hate them. Dude, do you remember when there was that clown thing going on wherever, like, people were on runs in the park and all of a sudden, like, somebody's dressed up like a fucking clown?
That was wild, man. What a wild time to be alive where people
I'll tell you right now. I tell you right now, motherfucker, that's how you get shot.
That could be a way to get shot.
I'm not playing around.
No creepy killer clowns for you.
Yeah, no it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could watch the new. I could watch. Well, I watched the original It like back in the day. It doesn't have the same effect. I like the new It because I like that I'm a big sucker for 80s and 90s nostalgia.
Sure.
So like that really had it. Plus those kids were incredible actors and actresses. Like they played their roles to a T. So I thought that those movies were really good.
Yeah, they did a great job for sure.
And then how do you say his name's Skarsgård?
It was Skarsgård, but it was one. There's like Alexander. There's Peter. There's like several Skarsgårds. Yeah, but it was one of the Skarsgårds. I don't think it was Alexander. Alexander's the one from like the Northmen and stuff. But it was a Skarsgård. Maybe it was Peter. Man, maybe Peter Skarsgård.
I didn't know that there was more than one.
There are several Skarsgårds.
Like the Hemsworths.
Yeah. I don't think there's not as many as them as there are Hemsworths, but.
One movie that I refuse to watch is The Terrifier. It's just because it's just absolutely so disgusting. It's just, I find it foul. I find it very foul.
Yeah, that movie has, there's two of them, right? There's Terrifier 1 and 2. Those movies are just like, they just exist for shock value, Yeah. There's not much in the way of a script or acting or set design or anything like that. It's just kind of like, let's keep this product. But movies have been doing that for a while, right? Like all the way back to the 70s where, you have a super low budget and, I
wasn't even shocked. I saw like one scene because our Meech showed it to me a long time ago. And I was like, this is disgusting.
Yeah.
This is absolutely repulsive. I am not shocked. I'm not scared. I want to vomit right on your floor.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm sick into this.
Yeah, puts butts into seats, though.
It definitely. I'll tell you, as far as if you want to call it shock value, I felt like just that scene alone was up above House of a Thousand Corpses, or maybe over.
I love House of a Thousand Corpses. I think that's a great movie. I think that's incredible.
I can only watch it once a year, man. It's a little bit too much for me.
It's a lot, but what Rob Zombie plays, it's interesting, right? Because like that movie's a little much. I think his next couple movies, right? He did like The Devil's Rejects, and there was like Three from Hell. That's when it started getting a little too much for me, where it stopped being a good movie. But House of Thousand Corpses was just so interesting because it played off of all these old like 70s and 80s movie tropes, and then just took it farther past its logical conclusion. I think that's what I really liked about it. Like it retained the kind of feel and creepiness of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something like that. And then it was
aligned it up with like a more of like a 70s cult.
Exactly. It was like every time you thought like you were at the climax, then it ratcheted up again and again. And it turned it from, something like Texas Chainsaw, which is like an incredible movie and, a very like important film, but it kind of meshed that with like a Killer Clowns from Outer Space, right? Like it melded these two genres together to make something I thought was like really unique and really special. And then Rob Zombie just started going absolutely nuts and putting horrendous things in his flicks. But he started off strong, started on a strong foot.
We're back to clowns there. The American Horror Story Freak Show.
Yeah,
is that the season? A
Season
lot of people
4,
didn't like it. I kind of liked it. I mean, it wasn't great. It wasn't the best one. I favor it over a few of them. But the clown, the masked clown in the beginning, that was really freaky.
It was. I liked that one a lot too. I think maybe I just liked the era they set it in. I thought that was a really interesting place to set American Horror Story. Like you, it's not my favorite. That first season I think was really special. The Murder House one, that one was just a very different time for TV.
Yeah, speaking of American Horror Story Freak Show, that's how I felt like that's how I felt like 20 years. 20 years I belonged in a circus.
Yeah.
But
before we sign off, Mike, I want to tell you about this this news story I saw here recently. So apparently a wife, I don't know if maybe she found her husband on the Ashley Madison account or something, but she whacked her husband in the head with an 18-inch dildo that she named Godzilla. And I think we're going to put this picture up on our social media or something, because good Lord, the welt on this dude's head. It looks like there's a softball on top of this guy's head. That must have been a monster that she was beating this dude with. Could you imagine getting whacked with something like that?
See, you fuck around, you play games. That's what happens, man. He definitely did something to really piss her off.
Yeah.
It goes back to the Lorena Bobbitt.
Who? Lorena Bobbitt? Lorena
Bobbitt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lorena. Was that Lorena Bobbitt?
Lorena Bobbitt. That was her name.
Yeah.
She wasn't playing around. Don't mess around on that girl.
Hack that wiener off and just tossed it right out the window for the birds to chirp on.
Yep. Later, wiener.
Yeah. You want to screw around? That's all right with me. Oh, God. Could you imagine? Oh, oof. That poor man.
I will say what this reminded me of. A buddy of mine back in college days, I think it was his 21st birthday or something, someone, as a joke, gifted him a very large, big, purple, rubbery dildo. Just a big, veiny, double-ended guy. And, it was a big joke, big laugh, like, ha, ha, ha. So he decided to take that joke one step further. So whenever he would go to the grocery store, he'd pop that thing out and use it as the item separator on the...
Oh, my God.
He'd just be standing in line and, like, throw all his items up and then pop that thing down. Like, nope, all my stuff's behind the dildo there. Oh, man.
Real quick, did you heard about the stories Dildo over Durrani?
I did hear that story. Yeah.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen, we were on this mission in Afghanistan, and we to sum it all up, we got in this bad firefight and whatever. So I had like a 203 underneath my launcher, underneath my M4. Excuse me. So our convoy commander truck got hit with an IED. Shit was all over the road. We're trying to do recovery and stuff like that. I'm like running, checking on guys. I run over. I trip and fall over a bag. And it was, I was like, what the fuck? My buddy came over. He's like, yo, man, you all right? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I just tripped over somebody's shit. And I looked down there to see where it is. And here's this rubbery purple dildo just laying right there. And I was like, hey, Nick, get a load of this shit. And I popped it at the end, put a loom round in there. And I was like, hey, Tally, get a load of this motherfucker. Poof. Dude, guy lost his mind laughing his ass off. And that's where Dildos Over Durrani came from. There. Yes. I've told, that story has been going around, but I haven't, I thought that was a pretty good one to do. Guys are fucking maniacs.
Yeah. Shoot that out. The Taliban never knew what hit them. But on that, I think we're going to end it. I think we did another episode. Thank you so much, everyone that hung out and listened to us. You got anything you want to go out on, Mike?
Absolutely not. All I got to say is just be careful with those when you're air traveling. Just don't be putting those vents like directly in your face, even if you're hot. That's what happened to me, and I ended up getting a sinus infection. These planes are
Do it, kids.
These planes are like, I don't care what they say. These planes are like petri dishes. They're like, you might as well just like stick your head in a toilet bowl. Like, it's just disgusting. And then you're like crammed in there, ass elbows next to everyone, passing germs and stuff. And so I'm just, stay the fuck away from me. No, I'm good. I don't want to drink. Just get me from point A to point B. Don't touch me.
All right, that's the PSA from Home Bar Happy Hour. Stay safe out there, kids. Don't get sick on airplanes, and we'll see you next time.
Keep it real, America.